24 days out from the election, we should start fucking yelling at people for not voting for the Democratic Party. That will certainly change people's attitude. Oh my Lord, dude.
And he had a message specifically for black men.
Part of it.
Yeah. This part is, oh man, this is 2016 time, baby. Let's go. Let's go. It's like, I love seeing a rerun, you know? When you got something so good, and you just like rerun it, it's like a comfortable warm blanket that you can cover yourself in. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nice. Nice, dude. That's how desperate we are. Okay. Love that, dude. Love that. Yeah, keep telling motherfuckers that they're misogynistic. That certainly worked. I mean, that works so well. That works so well. Let's do it again. Don't complain. Vote. Yeah, exactly. Woo! Woo! Every internal poll must be screaming red hot right now for these guys to just fucking do like the most desperate attempt. Oh my God. Oh my fucking Lord, dude. God damn. Oh, that's so good. If you don't vote for Kamala Harris, you're misogynist and you're anti-black. We should roll that out last second, like the fucking Comey letter, okay? That'll work. 24 days out from the election. 24 days out from the election, we should start fucking yelling at people for not voting for the Democratic Party. That will certainly change people's attitude. Oh my Lord, dude. Let's go.
Makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength. Because
here's why this is funny. Because this shit works only on potentially older black voters who love Barack Obama, but they're already fucking voting for Kamala Harris. You turn around and say this to younger black men, they're going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Suck my dick, goofy. That's it. This doesn't work. You have to like Barack Obama for this to even like remotely work. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this has the reverse effect. This has the reverse effect.
that's what being a man is? Putting women down? That's not acceptable.
CNN political commentator Errol Lewis is in our fifth seat for this conversation. Errol, I guess he knew the cameras were there. It was an unscheduled stop, but that message was so pointed. In addition to him making it very clear, Kamala Harris is not doing what she needs to do with this core Democratic constituency.
That's right. Although he is asking her, let's be clear, to go over a very high hurdle. Barack Obama got historic levels of black voter registration and turnout and support, and he did it twice. It was almost inevitable that it was going to swing more toward the long-term average of a handful of black
But can
voters
I interrupt you for just a moment,
Republican
just to show you something here? Because we went back.
The funniest part about this is like, this is one of those things that even if it's true, you're not supposed to say because it's just a bad way to campaign. Okay. And it's also typical Obama to hit this fucking, and I'll say it, white supremacist ass fucking take. Typical pick up your pants Obama. Okay. For him to say this is so gross as a black man is ridiculous. Because here's why it's ridiculous. Okay. Young men, on average, across the board, are swinging for Trump. Okay? Black men are the smallest part of that constituency. How the fuck are you going to call out black men as a black man yourself in this regard? That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. What are you doing? Like, what the fuck? Like, oh yeah, it's black people's fault. You're right. Come on. Now, he didn't specifically say black in his speech. Okay, dude. First of all, I think he did. So you're wrong. What do you think he should say instead? Well, it depends. Yeah, it's right here. Black men supporting Trump over Harris is not acceptable. Yeah, when he said brothers, he meant white dudes in Naperville. He was talking about them. Those are the brothers he was referencing. So the problem here is if you want to analyze specifically the black vote and the generational divide that is like going to be a major problem for the Democratic Party in the future that has taken the black vote for granted, if you want to specifically look at that, even if black men constitute the smallest percentage of this swing happening in the Republican direction, okay? The reason is clear. If you are 1 or 2 generations removed from the last time the Democratic Party actually put their ass out there and expended social capital to defend you and give you something, the right to vote, for example, then yeah, of course you're not going to have that same fucking level of solidarity and loyalty to the Democratic Party. That's it. In terms of the black vote, it's the only fucking voter group. It's the only fucking demographic where the older you are, the more likely you are to vote for the Democratic Party. How did that happen? If you can personally recall a time where the Democrats fought for your right to vote, that's not true, question mark. What? Yes, it is. Infamous J-Dub. That's why he's trying to reach out to them. From black man to black man is a different strat. I think he's aware. Dude. It's a terrible strat. You have to examine, at this point, why not try it? Because it's a failure. Vote shaming is a horrendously bad strategy to try and win back voters. All you do is signal to the fucking people in the margins that you are entitled to their vote and they need to shut the fuck up and go out and vote. Saying that at a time when, like, obviously previous vote shaming and taking votes for granted has demonstrably failed, so much so that now you're thinking like, oh, we're hemorrhaging black male support, is just a fucking idiotic thing to do. Like, you have recognized the problem, and instead of addressing the problem, trying to tackle the underlying reasons why the problem exists, you're just doing the problem. You're reiterating the problem. What's the one thing that black conservatives say all the time? We are not a monolith. The Democratic Party takes our vote for granted. You are now staring down a bunch of young black men who are repeating that position. And if your response to that is simply to say, you are a monolith, they're going to be like even more fucking convinced not to vote for the Democrats. It's just not going to work. They can't blame it all on Muslims. Yeah, I know. That is true. Yeah. He's literally not saying that black men are a monolith. What? Do campaigns offer you dollars to consult them? No. And they don't listen to what I have to say that I give out for free 99 anyway. I don't disagree. While I don't disagree with you, there's a tough, low component of the black community that I think he's trying to appeal to. Nah. I knew chatters were going to say that. No, dude. Nah.
Look to 2020 exit polls.
They're just voters, okay? No, there is no, like, black community aspect to this, okay? They're just voters. And when you yell at voters and you tell them that they're misogynistic for not voting, even if that is true, you're not supposed to say it.
Biden got 92% of the black vote. Right now, according to Quinnipiac, this is in Pennsylvania, according to Quinnipiac, Harris is at 78. It's a big gap in this state right now. And that can be closed because Biden is not Barack Obama.
Biden is not, well, he was Obama's running mate. Right. Certainly some spillover there. But you cannot ask of every black candidate in the post-Obama era, you've got to come up with 92% of the black vote every time. That is just not a reasonable assumption. If the margins are as tight as they're likely to be in this race, that's going to cause you problems in Pittsburgh and in Philadelphia and in Detroit and in Milwaukee and in Atlanta and in all of the swing states. And so they're going to have to come up with a strategy. Now, Barack Obama is trying one strategy, trying to sort of connect with some of the black male voters who they think have been drifting away and are likely to drift away in these last 26 days. I'm not sure that's the right message, but they have to try something.
It's a lot of pressure. I mean, this is not a nice message. This is a very stern message.
Let me ask you a question, Abby and Nina. Let me say, I find it very interesting that we're trying to reach out to white men. We're trying to reach out to black men. The people whose rights are really on the ballot right now are women. And we're begging all these men to pay attention to us and to care enough about this election, to vote, to come out, to support us.
Oh, my God.
I feel like Barack going on the campaign trail right now makes perfect sense. Of course, right? He's a top surrogate for Democrats. He should be out there doing the work right now. I think it's so amazing to me that with women's rights on the line, we're spending so much time focusing on making sure men care.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Look at her face. Look at her face. Now you understand why I get fucking annoyed whenever people single out black people like this. I hope you understand that. Yeah, dude, it's black people. 13% of the fucking population. Like, ridiculous. less support for the Republicans per capita than every other fucking demographic. And they're like, wow, you got to do better, black men. Saying that to fucking young black men. Come on, dude. Come on. It's like unnecessarily splintering your base of support. It's a liberal version of doing white supremacist talking points. And you're going to have a whole lot of white people speaking out of turn. The easiest counter to this is, bro, you're a white woman. Out of all these groups, is the one demo that consistently voted for Trump by majority. How about you fix your own fucking house before talking about black men? The fuck are you talking about? What are you saying? And that is also unnecessary splintering, for the record. That's not how you build a coalition, but that's how you arrive at the normal counter to this point. That's what most people are going to fucking feel like. Most black people are going to fucking hear her chirp like this and be like, the fuck are you talking about? White lady? Are you out of your fucking mind? Like, dude, can you imagine? Looking at an entire group of marginalized people and just like monolithizing them this way when you're a white woman? It's just funny because Kamala is smart enough not to do this. Kamala is smart enough not to fucking do this shit. Because she's a black woman, okay? And as a black woman, she understands, like, putting that in the forefront of your campaign is not going to win anyone over in a country that is objectively racist and misogynistic. So the fact that they are literally doing the exact opposite thing now in their last-ditch effort as their campaign is like fucking flailing is psychotic.
Women's rights on the line, we're spending so much time focusing on making sure men care.
Because men, I don't know, it's because men are the problem
Men
right now
should
for
care.
Kamala Harris.
I mean, women.
And by the way, Governor Walz, according to Politico, is going to be going out on a men tour, literally a tour of media to appeal to men.
They need to appeal to the needs of the voters. And so when I was a delegate for President Obama in both of his elections in Ohio, right now the vice president is down 11 points in Ohio, even though I fully expect President Trump to take Ohio as he did twice, but to be down 11 points compared to President Biden, that is a problem. But this other issue I want to bring up is a problem too. Why are black men being lectured to?
Thank you!
Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group? Now, a lot of love for former President Obama, but for him to single out black men is wrong. And some of the black men that I have talked to have their reasons why they want to vote a different way. And even if some of us may not like that, we have to respect it. So unless President Barack Obama is going to go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to black men who, by and large, don't vote much differently from black women. And what, as a politician, we should be.
There is literally, this is what I like to call liberal white supremacy. Okay. Liberals love talking about how fucking homophobic black people are. Black men. They're so homophobic. They're so queer phobic. They're so conservative. It's like, have you seen white people, dog? What the fuck are you talking about? The margins are literally the same. When it comes to election stuff, it's not even the same. Black men, by and large, are still firmly committed to the fucking Democratic Party but in far greater percentages than white men are. What the fuck? That's crazy. That's a crazy argument to make. You are out of your fucking mind. That's an insane argument to make, dude. It's just you are basically just a liberal that wants to say that black men are angry, violent beings. Like, it's just a liberal way of saying that. I won't lie to you. Old habits die hard. As a 32-year-old black woman, my first instinct to hear Obama's comments is the same message our community says in private amongst each other about interpersonal support. But hearing your commentary, it's immediately alerting to me that means it's definitely not appropriate for the masses and not about voting/elections. Is super clear now. Thank you. Yeah, Obama having this conversation in private or whatever is one thing, okay? But you can't say this publicly. Like, when you say this publicly, you're giving ammunition to like white liberals who are just going to use black men as a reason for why Kamala Harris lost in the end. When percentage-wise, black men are still, by and large, committed to the Democratic Party by higher percentages. It's stupid. It's more complex than that, though. The reason black people are picked out are because the other party's almost pro-slavery. First of all, both parties are pro-slavery as long as it's being done in the prison system. And even if you're going to talk about marginalized identities, Latino men are also in higher percentages voting for the Republican Party, and the Republican platform is killing them. So what are we talking about? Dude, the Republican Party's platform is killing poor people, okay? And poor people still vote for the Republicans. Like, you have to, at a certain point, after many, many years of covering this shit, at least for me, I've begun to recognize that, yes, not begun, but, I recognize that it's the Democratic Party's fault. That's it. The Republicans do not change their strategy. They're always the same. They just get worse and worse year over year. If the Democrats keep taking for granted all these fucking bases of support and constantly run harm reductionist arguments, they're not gonna win. They're gonna keep hemorrhaging support from these likely groups of voters. It's that simple, dude. Yeah, I mean, 2020 exit poll: white women 55% for Trump, 45% for Biden. Exactly. I don't know, man. As a black man, I really like white libs pretend that white people are actually more powerless majority than that never did anything wrong. It really motivates me. Yeah. This conversation pisses me off a lot. It's just very, very frustrating. Yeah, blacks for Trump is like 10 to 15%, while whites for Trump is like 50+%. Like, what are we talking about? Also, the other side of what Obama was saying is that there is truth to it. Like, it's not just for black men, it's for a lot of young men. Yes, a lot of American voters, and this is a truth that Kamala Harris recognizes as well. That's why she doesn't fucking run on the "I'm a black woman, you have to vote for me" shit in the same way that Hillary Clinton did the "I'm with her" campaign, because she was a white woman. And as a white woman, she had the audacity to think that American voters would literally not only refuse to be misogynistic, but actually go out and vote for a white woman. White being the primary difference here. And while what he is saying is not entirely incorrect, it still doesn't change the narrative that is not a way to campaign. You cannot fucking say that. Kamala Harris recognizes that. She doesn't say it. You shouldn't either. I hope Kamala doesn't also fucking turn around and start doing this shit.
Trying to get all voters to vote. And hopefully there are a few good men out there who do care about the stripping away of some of women's bodily autonomy. But this is wrong for President Obama. It is a wrong course for the Harris.
People are going to say she's speaking out of turn and say, oh, we have to respect them. They hate women. Why should we respect them? The real counter to this is those people, misogynistic or racist or not, doesn't fucking matter. Okay? Still have material needs. Trump is obviously communicating to some of their desires better than Kamala Harris's. That's what voting is. That's what elections are about. That's it.
Walt's campaign to lay at the feet of black men when they have their reasons. In 2020, the vice president was labeled a cop, as we know.
But do you think, sorry to interrupt you, Nina, but do you think he's right that one of the reasons is because they don't like the idea of a woman?
It might be some
in the White
listen,
House?
black men are socialized in the same society as any other man. So
On race, I looked up, according to New York Times and others, voters think Harris is too conservative, 6% not progressive enough, 9% too progressive, 41%, including 36% of young people, say she's too progressive. Yeah, because she's a black woman. That's it. People are lizard brain. They don't respond to shit. Okay, so were those black men in that room Trump supporters? If so, they need to be called out? No, they weren't. There's also a difference between Obama saying that directly to a black Trump supporter versus putting that out as a broader message, okay? But he wasn't. He wasn't doing that. He was letting it rip so that the media covers it like this. It's a broader message. I think with the ultimate goal of having like older black men and women in the black community to go out and try to speak some sense into their younger counterparts, their children and their grandchildren. I think that's the reason why he said that. And you know, it's AOE damage for no reason. Yeah.
yes, is misogyny maybe a part of it? But again, is President Obama and is the Harris-Waltz campaign going to lecture other male groups in the same way that they're lecturing
This is
black
not just
men?
about.
I don't think so.
It's not just about Pennsylvania. It's not just about men. It sounds like there's a concern that there's a broad problem for Vice President Harris with the blue wall. It's basically, according to the poll of polls, no clear leader, a tied race essentially in all three of these battleground states. You know, I don't know that this is because Trump has run a great campaign, but I mean,
I don't think it's that.
I mean, maybe he has, maybe he hasn't, but he has struggled against Kamala Harris in this early stage, but he's still kept this race pretty tight and maybe has made some inroads in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, absolutely, he has. Vice President Harris's high watermark was about a week and a half after the convention. It's slowly been trickling down. That Quinnipiac poll showing the vice president down in Michigan and Wisconsin sent a
Your grandpa, I'm a black man. I'm not voting at all because Kamala's not campaigning on progressive enough policies for me, but my grandpa's doing lesser evil voting. I understand his POV. His main concerns are January 6th happening again, lol, and abortion. But I can't operate that way. I'd rather see a new progressive party born with steadfast beliefs and vote in 4 to 8 years. I love your grandpa. Your grandpa is very similar to a lot of people's grandparents that fucking, you know, spend all their time watching MSNBC. It's like the Fox News contingency, but like for MSNBC instead. That's all this is. Yeah. There's only two different people at this point in America, in the American base of support, okay? You got MSNBC grandpa that's like worried about January 6th, and you got fucking Fox News grandpa that wants to do January 6th.
alarm bells throughout every Democrat office in the country. But I want to say this, the blue wall is cracking, and black men are just one part of a broader puzzle that she hasn't been able to reach. Now, to her credit, she hasn't been running for very long. This campaign's new. This is a new experiment of replacing somebody late in the cycle. So, okay, we'll give her that. However, she's struggling with union voters. The two of the biggest unions ever didn't endorse her. She's struggling with Muslim Americans in Michigan, according to CARE's own numbers. She's struggling with Hispanics in California. She's not expected to remake the Obama coalition. That's impossible. That's a 1 in a million, especially given the short time frame. But she has a lot of bigger problems, and that's why you see Tammy Baldwin panicking about being down more.
Here's Debbie Dingle. People need to see the real Kamala Harris. This is what she told Axios. They need to let her get in the union halls and just talk to people. Whatever you think about Trump, he's personable.
Well, I think that's one of the things. I mean, he obviously, from 2016 all the way through 2020, now through 2024, he comes off as a fighter. He comes off.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that's a good idea. No. I was like, damn, we should do more Kamala Harris media appearances. And then I saw it and I was like, damn, we should never do more Kamala Harris media appearances. Send in Tim Waltz on the Man Tour. God, that shit is so lame. The Man Tour. This is what happens when your worldview is inherently anti-materialist. You think everything is culture. You think like these people basically became the way that they are because they saw too many wrong podcasts. And if they see the right podcast, their attitude will change. That's not how this works. You have to also solve the underlying material issues that they experience. Here, I'll make it simple for you. There's a couple signifiers that make it incredibly likely that you are going to vote for one party or the other. There is the rural versus urban divide. If you live in a city, you are more likely to vote Democrat than if you live in a suburb or in a rural part of your state. Another thing that also is a predictor of who you're going to vote for is educational attainment. Educational attainment is so significant that even white people who otherwise love white supremacy will end up overcoming that. Overcoming their white supremacist desires to go out and vote for the liberal party, the progressive party. Men are less educated than their female counterparts. That's it. That's it. And it's becoming worse and worse. Like this education gap and also work attainment gap as a byproduct of the education gap is getting worse. There you go.
As a fighter for whatever issue matters to you. I think that's one of his big appeals. One of the challenges, I think, for the vice president's campaign is that I don't think Barack Obama is the right surrogate to go out there and do it. No, now, he's beloved by Democrats. He's beloved generally by Americans, but he's never had coattails. Aside from 2008, when he first got elected, Democrats lost more than 1,000 seats in state and federal offices during his 8 years. He was the sitting president when.
Damn. That's not even Obama's fault entirely. You know, shouts out Rahm Emanuel and all the fucking dipshits that he had in his corner. But he's not wrong. I can't believe I'm agreeing with a fucking Trump strategist here, but that is a truth bomb, okay? That's a Psaki bomb, baby.
Donald Trump won Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin with Barack Obama campaigning in Michigan and in Pennsylvania, and it didn't change the narrative. So I just don't know if he has the coattails. He'll fire up the base, but he's going to get anybody new to come out and vote.
You know, the other mistake that they're making is focusing too much on personality. I mean, Kamala Harris has got an appealing personality, and we're all getting to know her. But this is the incumbent party. She was part of an administration. They have a decent record to run on. You could say to black men, for example, $7 billion for historically black colleges and universities. You know, we've done certain things. We've had an economy where we've had not one, not two, but over 36 record highs in the stock market this year. If you've got a retirement account, that is.
I'm sorry, dude. You're a fucking idiot, dog. In a conversation where the subject matter is why young men are hemorrhaging support, but specifically young black men are hemorrhaging support from the Democratic Party, you're like, wow, why doesn't she tout the benefits of the stock market highs? I'm Brian Kilme, dude. I'm Brian Kilme. Wow, I don't understand why young men don't want to support the party when the Democratic Party had stock market highs 34 times under the Brandon regime. If you have this weird attitude where everyone's a day trader, I don't fault you for thinking that because you're online, but it's just big signifier that you're extremely online.